Welcome to your O'Neill Artworks Complete Craft Kit. This is what I made for you. Out of the box, you'll get your double-sided adhesive foam strips, your fairy lights, and all of your precision cut layers. So to get started, let's take your layers out of the box and put them on your workspace. We're going to be working from the bottom up. So I've provided you with all the layers in order, and we're going to start with the very bottom layer, and we're going to use the double-sided adhesive foam strips to put on the edge of the bottom layer and then string the lights. I like to remove a bunch of the backing on one side of the adhesive foam strips so that I can concentrate on my design. You can see that I'm taking a lot of them off because it takes 4 for each layer. Now I'm just going to put the double-sided adhesive foam strips in the center of each side of my bottom layer. You'll notice that I get as close to the edge as possible, but I'm not really very particular about how well lined up they are. I am trying to get them as close to the edge as possible. Next are the lights. So take out one of your lights, remove the plastic protector, turn them on to make sure that they work, and then carefully unravel. I would not suggest pulling them. I would suggest carefully unraveling them. I kind of try to get them into as straight a line as possible. Now, starting at the bottom, we're going to use the sticky side of the adhesive strip to help us keep the lights in place. See how I'm sort of pushing it into the sticky side of the strip. Here's what I'm actually also doing. I know that my next layer is the full moon. So I'm looking at the wire and I'm looking at the little lights, and you can actually turn the lights on as you work if you want. But I'm looking at the lights and I'm looking to see where they're going to appear when I put the next layer on. And one of the things that I just noticed is that if I just put the layer down, I'm going to see wires in the full moon. So I'm moving my wires away and up so that that next layer is backlit, but I'm not going to see the wires in the full moon. Now, we're just going to do more of the same for every single layer. I'm going to put the double-sided adhesive foam strips where I had the other ones underneath, and then I'm going to string the lights across, making sure that my wires are not in view, making sure that they are below the next layer. So you'll see I took the layer, I looked at it, I just kind of eyeballed it to see that yes, I could put the wire across and it will not show up in my picture. I also want to point out that when I put the next layer on, I'm going to actually be able to line up that square boxy kind of frame area. So when I put the first layer, the full moon layer on, I just lined it up with the background, which was the first layer down. And then this layer, the first layer of mountains, I lined up to make sure that my corners were lined up, right? So now moving forward, each layer is going to have that little frame at the top, which is going to make it a little bit easier to sort of get it lined up. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. And I also want to point out that once again, I'm putting on the double-sided adhesive foam strips on the edges, and then I'm going to take the next layer, take a look at where the lights need to be strung across so that they do not show up when I put that layer down. And you can see it's a little bit lower, so I'm just going to move them down and then string them across. and then gently press the next layer down onto what I've already built. And you can see now I can line up that kind of frame area, see, and it's nice. Once again, we're going to put the double-sided adhesive foam strips on the edges where we had the edges below. So we're sort of building up on the sides this depth, and as each strip is put down, it's adding more depth. And again, it's also helping us keep the lights in place. Let's take a look at this next layer and see where the lights need to go. So it's a little bit lower, but not much lower. Just going straight across and taking that layer and gently lining it up. Oops, there we go. And then gently pressing it down into the double-sided adhesive foam strips. I'm going to speed up this next layer because this is more of the same. Double-sided adhesive foam strips, measuring where the lights go, stringing the lights across. This layer is going to be a little bit different. Because of supply chain issues, your double-sided adhesive foam strips are only 3.5 inches long, which means that they don't stretch the full length of the Shadowbox. But I have determined, and you'll see the results, that it doesn't really make a difference. So on this layer, what I did was I put the adhesive strips on the sides a little bit lower. It wouldn't have mattered if you had just put them all in the same place, but I put them a little bit lower because I know that the next time the lights get strung across, and you can see right now, that they need to be much lower. And so having the strips on the sides a little bit lower makes it easier for me to stick them in and hold them in place. And you'll see what I mean right now. Pretty cool, right? And it doesn't make a difference. The end result is going to be awesome. Oh, there's a wire showing. Can you see it? I'm just going to take something and push it down. Sometimes you can also pull the wire on the side, but essentially once you get it out of view, it usually stays out of view. Okay, this is the second to last layer, and the tree layer also has a little bit of a different vibe to it. It's got a tree that covers up some of the scene, and I like to really backlight that. So I'm going to double up on the adhesive foam strip on the side with the tree. That way I can use that to really hold the wires exactly where I want them. And then on the rest of this particular layer, I'm just gonna put it where I've been putting it, you know, right in the middle, because there aren't gonna be any wires over there. I'm really just gonna use up the rest of my lights backlighting the tree. Now that my adhesive foam strips are in place, I'm just gonna take a look at where the tree shows. I see so much trunk on the left-hand side. I'm just going to kind of zigzag the rest of my fairy lights up the side where the trunk is, and then try to use what's left at the top to maybe bend it down and be one with the leaves and branches, if that makes any sense. Again, I'm just gonna do what I think I just saw, and then of course, I'm gonna take that layer and I'm going to see if I see any wires, see if they show up in the right place. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Well, you can see I didn't do a great job of keeping the wires out of my line of sight. I can see them actually through the trunk. So I'm just going to make some adjustments and change how the wires are placed a little bit. To be honest, it's a personal thing. You really don't notice the wires much because they're so thin and they're so fine. but I personally look for them so I see them. Another way to fix it is to do the best job you can, and then when you get the layer down, you can fix it by pushing the wires out of the way. I'm still not crazy about it, but I'm gonna stay with this, even though I can see the wires there a little bit. I'm going to just try and tuck those out of the way, maybe pull them down or up. I can get them actually from underneath and pull them towards the tree trunk. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Now, the cover, this is the box. It is perforated, so we're just going to fold on all of the perfs. You'll notice that your cover has two sides, and both sides are colorful, I guess is the only way I can really explain it. Every single one is different. The cardstock that I have is magical. It's just brilliant. It's like this natural color. I just love it. So each pack, each craft kit has a different cover, and you can decide which one you like. So for me, I think I'm gonna go with this cover, this brown with hints of green. It's sort of a copper. It looks sort of like a rusty copper. And what I'm gonna do is fold all of the edges back, and then, yes, put my double-sided adhesive foam strips on my last layer. We're almost done. We are almost there. You are gonna love the results. Just need to get 2 more adhesive foam strips. And you can see in the pack that I included in your craft kit, there are plenty extra. So if you wanted to double up in a couple of different places that I didn't, that's fine. Now, what I do is I fold the edges towards me so that when I'm going to line up my frame, I can line up the edges with the box that's below. And also, it looks so cool. I just love the way that this looks. Now, the last piece that we need to do is to fasten the cover. And once again, we're going to our handy dandy adhesive foam strips, and we're just going to take one and put them on the edge of each of the outer flaps. And you'll see what I mean in a second as soon as I get the backing off and put them on. So I'm just putting it on the edge of the outer flaps, and once we have them on the edge of the outer flaps, it's just a matter of bend and pinch, then flip over and turn on for your aha moment. Okay, so I'm just folding it over. I'm sorry that this is a little bit out of the frame, but you can see that I've just folded it over and I'm just pinching and pushing down that last layer onto the back frame. And what that's going to do is actually create your paper Shadowbox frame for you. And then once it's done, flip it over, turn it on. Is that amazing or what? Wait, I'm going to turn the lights off. Hold on. How cool is that? I am always just so floored by how amazing this art works. So I hope you enjoyed making your craft kit as much as I enjoyed making this one and telling you how to do it. Thanks. Have a great day.